The businesses that most people overlook are the ones that are quietly making the most money. Cleaning companies, landscaping businesses, junk removal services, painting companies, cleaning services. They aren't flashy startups. They're simple, service-based businesses that people often start for a couple $1,000s or less. And in some cases are growing to millions of dollars in revenue. And far too often, people are chasing trendy online businesses when there are simple opportunities waiting for them right in their community. So today, I want to show you how these simple businesses can turn into big companies. And in a minute, I'm going to show you a real-life example of a business someone could start this week and get their first paying client in just days. Hey there, if you're new here, I'm Heather Blake. Over the last 25 years, I've started multiple businesses for myself and helped others to do the same. And one thing I see all the time is people overcomplicating the idea of starting a business. They think they need some revolutionary idea. But most businesses really just solve simple problems for real people. Often when people think service business, they think of something small. But many of these industries have people that actually make millions in revenue. Here are just a few examples. None of these require inventing anything new. They exist because people have homes, properties, and busy lives. And when you solve those problems, customers come back again and again, and they refer you to their friends and family. Now, there's something important to understand here. The businesses that people grow into larger companies are usually not based on one person working alone. They're built on a system. In the beginning, many owners begin by doing part or all of the service. But the goal is not to stay there forever. The goal is to become the organizer of that business. You find customers, you create the system, and eventually you hire people that hopefully enjoy doing the service. There are plenty of people out there who enjoy hands-on work and would appreciate the opportunity that you can give them to work for a great boss and a good company. And then there are plenty of people like you who enjoy building and running a business. When those roles run together, you can build a business much faster. All right, let me give you an example of how this works. This is how a small business like this might start. Imagine Danny Joe. She decides to start a business. She's going to be removing junk for people. She doesn't need a storefront, and she doesn't need expensive equipment. In many cases, she can start with something simple like a pickup truck or a rental trailer from a rental company, or even partnering with someone who already has the truck or trailer. Do you have a friend who has a trailer? Offer them a percentage or a flat rate fee for borrowing their trailer. Then Danny Joe just creates simple listings in places where people already go to look for help. Places like Facebook Marketplace, local Facebook groups, Craigslist, community apps like Nextdoor, even printing out a flyer and hanging it up at the grocery store. The listing might say something like this: junk removal, furniture, garage cleanings, yard waste, fast and affordable. Now someone nearby is cleaning out their garage and they realize they have a broken couch, an old desk, and a bunch of boxes that they just don't know what to do and how to deal with it. They see Danny Joe's ad. They reach out. The junk removal comes by, loads everything up, and charges a few $100s for the job. That customer gets their space back, the business gets paid, and the owner of that business, Danny Joe, starts building customer loyalty. Over time, she gets referrals. She runs a few local ads, hires a couple college kids home for the summer. Then she adds booking online. She might hire full-time employees that aren't just college kids. And suddenly what started as a simple side business begins turning into a real company. And this is why I always tell people, your first business doesn't have to be mind-blowing. It just has to be useful and solve a problem for somebody. When you look at simple service-based businesses that are growing beyond a small operation, 3 things are almost always happening behind the scenes. They focus on solving real local problems. Service businesses succeed because they solve people's needs. People need their home cleaned. Lord knows I want to hire a cleaner. They need their lawns cleaned, and maybe they don't have a teenager that they can pay to do it. They need junk removed, windows cleaned, a house painted. Oh, especially if yours is my size, it's going to take me years to paint my house. These needs exist in almost every town and city, which means you don't need to build a massive online following to build your business. You just need to connect with people in your community who already need the services you're going to offer. The second thing that allows a business to grow is systems. Things like online booking, scheduling, customer reminders, invoices and payments, managing employees or contractors. When those pieces are organized, the business becomes much easier to manage and scale. There are platforms designed specifically for this, specifically for service-based businesses to help automate a lot of it. One example is a platform called Koala, which was actually created by 2 19-year-olds who built and scaled a cleaning company of their own, never doing any of the work themselves. Koala is a simple all-in-one system that will help take the stress out of managing and scaling your business. It helps manage things like online booking, scheduling, customer service, customer communication, job management, and taking payments. There are other tools out there, but from my research, this is probably the best tool available to a service-based business. If you're curious about tools like this, I'll put a link in the description and the pinned comment so you can check it out. Some of the other platforms that might be helpful to a service-based business are Jobber, Housecall Pro, ServiceTitan. The specific tool isn't in the important part. The important part is that you put the system in place early. This will allow you to make your business easier to run. Third thing, they shift from doing the work to running the business. This is the step that really allows the business to grow. Instead of doing every cleaning, every lawn, every job themselves, the owner begins to hire help. Now they're focused on finding the customers, scheduling the jobs, managing the team, and improving the systems. That tiny shift is huge, and it's what allows them to turn their tiny, small operation into a real company. A lot of people assume their first business needs to be complicated because often businesses can look complicated on the outside. They think it needs to be online or some big, huge idea or something completely new. They need to find that hole in the market and it has to be. But some of the most stable and scalable businesses start with a very simple service. And once you understand how these businesses actually work, they stop looking small and they start looking like opportunity. If you're someone who wants to start a business but feels overwhelmed by all the complicated advice out there, service businesses can be the practical place to begin. They don't require massive investment. They don't require huge audiences. And they can grow steadily over time by solving the problems that already exist for real people. If this was helpful, stick around and subscribe. I'm here to help you build a business you can be proud of.